Welcome to The Property Code. I am Nick, and today we are diving into investing in new construction homes. Search data this year keeps circling the same questions. People want the cost of new house construction explained. They want the new construction home buying process from start to finish. They ask how to get funding for new construction homes, whether smart home ideas are worth it, and where the best markets are from Florida to the upper Midwest. If that is you, this episode is your field guide wrapped inside a story. Meet Renee. She is a 36-year-old respiratory therapist in Tampa who saved diligently through the pandemic and spent 2 years renting while watching her city change. Remote work brought in new tech jobs, retirees kept arriving, and coastal insurance costs turned from a footnote into a headline. Renee loved the idea of investing but hated old roofs and surprise plumbing. A billboard on the freeway promised move in ready income with a builder warranty. New construction as a rental sounded almost too easy, so she decided to test whether the numbers and the risk actually worked in 2025. Her first stop was a lot release event at a new subdivision 10 minutes from a regional hospital and 15 minutes from a logistics park. The sales agent offered one of those packages you see everywhere this year. If she used the builder's preferred lender, they would buy down her interest rate for the first 2 years, cover a portion of closing costs, and include an induction range, a heat pump water heater, and wiring for an electric vehicle charger. The upgrades were not marketing fluff. Utility rates had climbed steadily, and insurance underwriters were rewarding resilient features. Lower operating costs meant stronger cash flow. Still, Renee knew incentives do not replace math. She started with the 3 numbers that decide whether a new build works as an investment. The first is all-in basis. That means purchase price plus lot premium, plus design options, plus any post-close additions like window shades or backyard fencing. For Renee, the base price on a 3-bedroom home was $370,000. A small lot premium and modest design package brought the total to about $390,000. She wrote that number in bold at the top of her notebook. The second number is realistic rent today. Not an aspirational wish, not a rumor from an internet forum, but signed lease comps on houses with similar square footage, school zones, and commute times. Renee pulled a rental report from a property manager who tracked median rents by subdivision. Comparable 3-bedroom homes were closing at $2,700 per month, with tenants paying utilities. The third number is the monthly expense stack. Taxes, insurance, homeowners association dues, a maintenance reserve, property management, and debt service. New construction reduces near-term repairs, but taxes are based on the new sale price, and insurance in hurricane country is real money. After lining items up, Renee's model showed that with the builder buy-down in years 1 and 2, she would clear a few $100s a month in positive cash flow. When the buy-down rolled off, she would be closer to break even unless rents bumped by 3 to 4%. That did not scare her. Remember, a rental does not have to deliver oversized cash flow on day 1 to be a smart purchase if the equity engine is working and you are capitalized for bumps. Funding was the next fork in the road, and it is where many listeners are searching right now. There are 2 common paths. One is to buy a builder spec home with a traditional end loan. That is simple. You sign a contract, pay an earnest deposit, then close when the home receives its certificate of occupancy. The second is to build on a lot you own with a construction-to-permanent loan. That option unlocks more customization and sometimes better yield on cost, but it requires progress draws, inspections, and a contingency fund because delays are normal. Renee chose the spec route for her first deal because she wanted speed and because the builder carried the construction risk until closing. She also asked about rate locks. In new construction, the calendar matters because you are exposed to interest rate changes while the house is being built. Long locks can be expensive. Renee's lender structured a shorter lock with a float-down feature that allowed a one-time drop if rates improved near closing. She budgeted for a lock extension just in case framing delays or weather pushed completion. That tiny line item saved her later when heavy rain slowed exterior work by 2 weeks. If you are debating markets, here is what 2025 demand is telling us. Florida remains the epicenter of new homes because of population inflows and pro-builder policies, but insurance and wind standards must be underwritten carefully. The upper Midwest, including parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin, offers lower insurance and steady rent growth near medical and manufacturing hubs. Sunbelt suburbs around Austin, San Antonio, Phoenix, and Raleigh continue to produce consistent tenant demand. New construction works best where employers are hiring, commute times are reasonable, and local governments keep permitting predictable. It struggles where impact fees are sky high or where the only draw is speculative appreciation. One of Renee's smartest moves was ordering third-party stage inspections, even though the county already inspected the job. She booked a pre-drywall inspection and a final inspection. Small fixes like misplaced insulation, loose duct boots, and a crooked exterior light were corrected before closing, preventing resident complaints and early service calls. She also reviewed the builder warranty. Most new homes come with a 1-year workmanship warranty, a 2-year systems warranty, and a 10-year structural warranty. Renee set up a calendar reminder to submit a punch list at month 11, so minor drywall cracks and door adjustments would be handled on the builder's dime. New construction invites one question more than any other: are smart home features worth it for a rental? In 2025, yes, if they cut operating costs or reduce truck rolls. A learning thermostat, leak sensors under sinks, a smart water main shutoff, and deadbolts that support code changes make management easier and can lower insurance premium. Fancy color-changing lights are optional, durable finishes remain king, quartz over marble, luxury vinyl plank over softwoods, matte hardware that hides little fingerprints, and bath fans on timers. Renee spent a few $1,000s up front, then recouped part of that through utility rebates linked to energy-efficient equipment. About 3 months after signing, Renee's home received its certificate of occupancy. The builder offered an in-house lease-up service, but she preferred a traditional property manager who handled multiple communities and posted to all the major portals. The home listed on a Wednesday, hosted an open house that weekend, and secured a 12-month lease starting 2 weeks later. The resident was a traveling nurse who loved the separate pocket office and the induction stove. Move-in was smooth because Renee had a checklist she borrowed from a veteran investor: doorstops in place, refrigerator waterline checked, caulk around, bath fixtures inspected, exterior hose bibs capped, smoke alarms tested, and a fresh air filter labeled with the date so the resident could snap a photo for her records. Was it perfect? 2 weeks in, the irrigation timer glitched and watered the yard at dawn. The management app alerted Renee, and a warranty technician swapped the controller the same day. Her insurance binder asked for proof of hurricane shutters. The builder had included panels, but they were in the garage rafters, and she had to document storage. Little things happen. The point of new construction is not that nothing ever breaks. It is that you know who fixes it, and that labor and materials are covered for a while. What about building yourself rather than buying from a production builder? If you want to pursue a construction-to-permanent loan on a scattered infill lot, plan for soft costs. That includes surveys, soils reports, architectural plans, permit fees, and impact fees. Plan a contingency equal to at least 10% of hard costs. Decide whether to act as your own general contractor or hire one. Owner-builder routes can save money but make lenders nervous and expose you to performance risk. If this is your first rodeo, buying a finished home or hiring a reputable general contractor is usually the better classroom. We also need to talk taxes and exit. Depreciation starts when the property is placed in service, not when you sign the contract. Because systems are new, you may qualify for accelerated deductions through a cost segregation study, especially if the home includes separate dwelling spaces or higher-end components. On exit, new construction can fetch a premium from owner-occupants who value the warranty and the latest energy code. That can make a build-to-flip strategy viable, but be mindful of short-term capital gains and state taxes. Renee's plan was buy and hold. She refinanced to a slightly lower rate after adding a more efficient heat pump and documenting the energy improvement. The cash-out proceeds funded her second home in a nearby phase. If you want a quick framework to copy from Renee, here it is in plain language. Choose a market with real jobs and modest commutes. Verify realistic rent by lease comps. Know your all-in basis. Underwrite taxes and insurance with today's facts, not yesterday's wish list. Use incentives, but do not rely on them to save a bad deal. Order third-party inspections. Favor durable, efficient finishes. Keep at least 3 months of expenses in reserves. 6, if your property is in a weather-volatile region. Read your warranty and set reminders. Record every expense from day one so your first tax season is a breeze. And stay close to your property manager during the first year so small kinks become small stories, not large expenses. Renee now holds 2 new construction rentals in the same school zone. The first runs slightly above break even after the buy-down expired, but principal reduction and modest rent growth are building equity every month. The second cash flows a bit better because she locked a lower rate on a green loan product after proving the heat pump upgrade. She is not chasing headlines. She is collecting keys, building reserves, and letting time do its quiet work. Investing in new construction homes is not magic, and it is not for everyone. If you crave heavy value-add returns, older homes with big renovation upside might suit you better. If you want cleaner operating lines, a predictable warranty, and tenant appeal tied to modern layouts and energy savings, new construction can be a strong pillar in your portfolio. In 2025, with builders competing for buyers, with energy codes rewarding efficient systems, and with property management software removing much of the daily friction, the strategy is more accessible than it has ever been. Thanks for listening to The Property Code. If this episode helped you frame the numbers and the process for new construction investing, share it with a friend who keeps scrolling model home photos at midnight. Subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, stay strategic and keep building your future one foundation at a time.